Yo, what's up? Gonna react to some stuff, but first I got something special. So my good friend Dom Cinemod asked me a very good question. So I tweeted because they're dropping a movie about the creation of Tetris, which is a very interesting story. And I tweeted this out. I'm just saying, I hope they don't fuck it up. And you know, my friend Dom replied, "Where is the Peggle film?" And that is a good question. That is a damn good question. Where is the Peggle film? Then that got me thinking. Where's Peggle? The last game we got, 2013. That's 10 fucking years ago. It's been too long, PopCap. It's been too long, EA. It's time. Introducing Bring Peggle Back. My new petition. We've got... I haven't even... I forgot to sign... I forgot to sign it, but it'll go to the top. I guarantee it. And we're gonna start right now. Want to sign my petition? Hell yeah. Oh, it brings tears to my eyes. Holy shit. Oh, let me get that out of the way. Alright. Gaming Isn't Fun Anymore by Siggy Snake. Great name. Let's get into it.
If you were to look at the video game industry of today, you might think gaming is in a golden age. Video games have never been more popular.
No, it is not. Gaming is fucking dead, bro. I hate it so much. It is so hard to make just straight up gaming content in general nowadays.
Gaming is a growing and respected sport, and game publishers see record profits year after year. This surface-level success, however, conceals many of the core issues plaguing modern games. Hypermonetization,
True.
egregious laziness,
True.
and a total lack of passion or vision.
That is the biggest to me. Because, bro, if you're around during the golden age, the 2000s and like early 2010s for gaming, bro, every game just had character. They made unique shit. There was always new shit coming out, bro. When was the last new IP that dropped? I don't fucking know. I can't even tell you. It's a rhetorical question I can't even fucking answer. I can't even remember. It's just remakes or it's sequels that aren't as good as the original.
Modern gaming has been on a consistent decline for close to a decade now.
I hate what they did to the Saints Row franchise. It's a travesty.
From predatory microtransactions, to broken, unoriginal games, to the current drought of new and interesting IPs, gaming has been reduced from a form of entertainment and artistry to a corporatized...
Bro. Blizzard, like, what, 2012, 2011? Dude, who didn't want to work for Blizzard, bro? Blizzard used to be so fucking cool, and now it's cringe. It makes me sad.
Money-making venture.
And BlizzCon?
As someone who's been into gaming for the vast majority of my life, as someone who genuinely appreciates the passion and artistry present in games, this mass corporatization and denigration of the medium is depressing at best and infinitely vexing at worst.
Bro used the word vexing. That's the whitest man I've ever heard.
I know I'm not alone in this stance either.
Nope.
The countless failures and disappointments
I'm
of the modern games industry
vexed
has
too,
left
brother.
most gamers tired and frustrated. To that end, I want to chart the slow descent of this once great industry, look at where it's heading, and what we should do in response.
Okay. Siggy Snake, go like and subscribe right fucking now, because this guy makes good shit and he doesn't have enough subs.
Before we can discuss the dismal state of modern gaming, I want to first look at the era which preceded it, along with what made it unique. I think few would argue that the mid-90s to late 2000s was a true golden age of gaming, and for a number of reasons.
Bro.
While the actual quality of games
Super
from
Mario
this time
Sunshine
period can't
is
be
so
understated and will be discussed, one of the biggest factors in this golden age was the state of gaming and the broader games industry. Gaming was considered a more nerdy or unusual hobby back then. You weren't getting bullied at school for not having the latest Fortnite skin, but for playing video games in the first place.
See, I feel like I just missed that era. Well, I mean, like elementary and middle school, outside of if you played like elementary school, if you played like Mario, you know, or in middle school you play like COD, you know, if you play anything beyond that, it's like kind of fucking weirdo. But now it's like everyone fucking games. It's the norm. It's like watching TV.
This relative unpopularity meant that the games industry was just a fraction of its current
My
size.
childhood hero.
Conversely, game developers and publishers were much more numerous back then. Various small and independent groups all competed in the open gaming market, and you'd either sink or swim depending on the quality of your games.
True.
While many
Very true.
studios sunk, those that swam were handsomely rewarded, and typically redoubled their efforts for their next project.
Dude, it's because back then you couldn't just like drop a half-finished fucking game littered with bugs and then just drop updates later on and be like, oh, it's future me's problem. Like they had to drop a finished piece. It's like finishing a movie, finishing a show. You're not going to leave mistakes in, but with games they can because of updates. It's enabled lazy development. in my opinion.
Furthermore, these small studios were often staffed and led by dedicated gamers and enthusiasts. This naturally leads to much greater passion and care put into the games they produced. Take, for example, Bungie back in the early 2000s. Their singular goal when producing the Halo trilogy was to make the best, most enjoyable game possible.
Absolutely.
And it shows in their outlook.
I feel like they still hold themselves to that with Destiny, because they do what they fucking want with that game. I think they just got to have a publishing deal like a couple years ago, right, with Activision. So now they do what they want again. That's fucking great. That's so rare in the gaming industry nowadays. Everyone's tied to a publisher or a big company. EA, Epic, there's like 5, you know?
The difference between good enough and awesome is so big. And I mean, there's this standard set by everyone here that, I mean, good enough sucks. You can't do good enough.
Absolutely.
It's a hard kind of thing to live up to, but it's, I mean, the game's going to be better for it.
We are the most cynical people. Like, we are the jaded crowd who, if a game doesn't entertain us in 5 minutes, we stop.
That's what you need. And that's what indie games have. That's why indie games are so good, because they're the people who are like, this is not fucking working. I'm not happy with what we have right now. I'm just going to fucking do it myself. And they did. And they killed it.
The passion you see here is honestly commendable, and was something found in abundance both at Bungie and the broader games industry. In addition to having an industry clearly committed to quality, the technological development seen in the 5th, 6th, and 7th generations dramatically expanded what could be done with video games. This is perhaps best demonstrated by the transition from 2D to 3D, swapping pixels for polygons.
Dude, I can't imagine what it was like when these games came out. Like the first good 3D games, like Doom, Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, Mario 64. Like, that would have blown my fucking mind, bro, if I was around, like, when that shit dropped. I can't imagine. That's, like, reminiscent to me of seeing VR for the first time, or having VR on for the first time. That shit is... It still blows my mind. It's fucking amazing.
An additional dimension not only enabled new and interesting forms of gameplay, but allowed for beautiful art styles and actually realistic graphics. These are your Killer 7s for the former, and Re-4s for the latter. The size and scope of games also increased substantially in this time period, going from megabytes in size to gigabytes. Whereas games on cartridges had to make best use of very limited real estate, CDs allowed for about as much game as you wanted, and at then modern graphics. Finally, internet access had reached hundreds of millions, even billions by this time period, meaning games no longer had to be primarily single-player or couch co-op titles.
Which is a good thing and a bad thing, because I feel like companies squeeze in multiplayer just to have it, because a lot of people won't play a game unless it has a multiplayer mode, which sucks. At least for me, as someone, I prefer single-player games normally. I probably play multiplayer more because I feel like for a single-player game to really hook you, it has to be really good. And those don't come in abundance, but multiplayer games usually do.
In short, the games industry not only had the technology to make new and engaging games, but the will and passion to do so. And I feel the results truly speak for themselves.
Dude. Oh, that game is so good. I don't remember what it's
Gaming
called.
during this golden age was, as the name implies, a pretty good time. Quite simply put, gamers were spoiled for choice in the 90s and 2000s.
Absolutely.
While shovelware and cheap cash grabs certainly were a thing, you had an absolute smorgasbord of quality titles to choose from no matter what you were looking for.
Why is GTA 5 on there like 6 times? It's at the bottom on the fucking part I paused. What the
You
fuck?
had an absolute smorgasbord
It's on there. Wait, that's
quality
4.
titles to choose from
5. Oh, it's just the different versions, 'cause it's on every fucking platform.
no matter what you were
A little
looking for.
cheating.
If you wanted to play something on your own, just pop in Tony Hawk or literally anything from Nintendo at the time. If some
Real.
friends were over, you had Halo or Mario Kart to rage at and laugh over. And if you wanted to meet cool new people on the wide world of web, WoW was still relevant.
Bro, WoW. I played WoW, but I didn't really ever get too into it because I kind of missed its prime. But the way people talk about that game back then, it must have been the fucking craziest shit ever.
Gaming as a whole was just fun. People treated it as an enjoyable, exciting hobby. You'd hear from a friend that the new Scrimbo Bimblo slaps, drop 40 or 50 bucks on it.
I don't even know if
and
you
have a
made up
good
that
time.
name. That
Gamers
just
had
fits.
hope in the industry, and while expectations weren't always met and missteps were had, it was good for a time. Unfortunately, all good things must come to an end. The Roman Empire experienced unmatched prosperity and security for hundreds of years, before its slow and
back in the
pitiful
90s.
death in the 5th century. Gaming is no different, and much like the Huns and Goths who brought low the Romans, it was an outside force which plunged the games industry into its dark age. the smartphone.
True.
In 1998,
Actually
Nokia
true.
really-
I mean, microtransactions were getting kind of introduced in games even on the 360 before mobile games really got popularized, but they definitely normalized it. Like, people got used to microtransactions from mobile games, and I feel like it's really had a negative effect on the gaming industry. But on the same note, I will say mobile games has normalized gaming as a whole for most people, because most normal person who doesn't have like a fucking console or anything, they still play games just on their phone. Fucking Candy Crush, bro, every 40-year-old mom plays that shit.
released their 6110 model of mobile phones. The 6110 offered numerous improvements and updates over the earlier Nokia 2110, one of which being the addition of Snake.
Eek.
Snake is a game you've likely heard of, seen, or played at some point. You play as a snake navigating a plane in
hasn't
search of
played
food,
Snake?
and need to maneuver around your ever-lengthening body as you go from point to point. It's a simple little game, something you could play for a few minutes at a time, but its inclusion in the 6110 was one of its most liked features. In line with this, mobile phones going forward would often include short little games similar in scope to Snake. Many of these games were shipped with the phone itself, and while it was possible to download additional games, they were never terribly common or popular. The system, however, would be completely turned on its head in 2007 upon the release of the iPhone. The iPhone, and more specifically its App Store, offered users a variety of applications and games for purchase. Much like the iPhone itself, this storefront proved wildly successful. Though it released with only 500 apps, in just 2 years this number increased to well over 100,000, and these apps were downloaded over 2 billion times. Initially, the App Store would sell their games for a one-time, upfront cost. You know, how games were always sold. This business model would eventually be
Actually
expanded
true,
in
yeah. You used to actually pay for fucking mobile games. Imagine that.
2009 to give apps and their developers new and exciting ways of making money.
I never got into Clash of
The
Clans,
biggest
but I
addition
know it
were
was
in-app
huge.
purchases, a system we would now call microtransactions. While many apps made ungodly amounts of money off this system, perhaps the most
Holy fuck. $892 million from 2 games. That checks out, though, because who wasn't playing Clash of Clans or Clash Royale? You know?
influential
Other
and
than me, I
iconic
didn't,
game in this
but-
landscape is Candy Crush. Candy Crush, released in late
they
2012,
stole-
is nothing special.
They stole from the best fucking gaming company in the world, PopCap, actually. They stole Bejeweled. Because I played Bejeweled. That shit was fire as fuck. And then they just stole it. Breaks my heart.
You match 3 pieces of candy in a row to earn points and accomplish objectives.
Yep.
Match 3 titles had been around for some time and have had successful entries such as Bejeweled.
Exactly.
What sets Candy Crush apart from its peers, however, was its method
Look
of
at Peak right
monetization,
there.
predatory microtransactions.
And then they
While
had
Candy
to
Crush
ruin
was
it.
free to download, it was seemingly
And it's the same company now, I think. I'm pretty sure Candy Crush is owned by EA, right? Oh. Well. Not much better.
first and foremost, the actual gameplay rewards you at every step, complimenting and praising you for making the right move or just having pieces fall in the right places. You're given dopamine hit after dopamine hit with easy levels until you reach
That
a
shit's so
difficult one you
fucking
can't
boring,
quite
bro.
beat. Candy Crush operates on a life system, and once you run out of lives, you're cut off from the flashy lights and easy
The
dopamine.
worst fucking invention.
You can either wait a ridiculous, uncomfortable amount of time until you can get your dopamine fix, or just pay 99 cents for an
Or
immediate
delete
refill.
the app like I did
Both
when I hit
options
that.
funnel you into playing, and eventually paying more and more. And it was
I will say, though, that shit looks fucking delectable.
this scanner box design that led to Candy Crush's success. To put it in perspective, Candy Crush alone brought in about $1.1 billion in 2014. That same year, the
I
entire
wouldn't be
games
surprised
industry
if
had
they
revenues
still
of
do, man.
$85 billion. A single game with a basic
Holy fuck. That is wild. I can't do math, but that's insane. What the fuck?
art style and simple gameplay loop made up over 1% of the games industry.
Yeah, okay, good. I wasn't gonna do the fucking math. That 1% of the entire industry all went to one shitty mobile game. That is fucking crazy.
All because it had an unbelievably effective microtransaction system. This runaway success told the games industry 2 things. First of all, video games were big money, a business venture that could be insanely profitable. This is not to say the games industry wasn't already massive, it was raking in tens of billions at the time, but it put into perspective just how much money you can make off of games. Second, a game doesn't have to be good in the traditional sense to be profitable. Making a game that is legitimately fair and enjoyable doesn't have to be a prerequisite for success.
Halo Reach is so
It just
good.
has to have the right mechanisms to fleece people of their money and have them come back for more. It was around this time period of the early to mid-2010s that you began to see the exportation of this philosophy from the mobile market to gaming as a whole. It's this philosophy which treats games more as a dry business just to make money, rather than an earnest form of art and escapism, that led to this.
Journey, I never played, but I always heard such good fucking things about it. Maybe I'm wrong, it just seemed kind of boring, but I never played it, so I can't really speak on it.
For anyone who's paid even a modicum of attention to the broader games industry over the past few years, you'd find it mired in scandals, mediocrity, and disappointment. The reason for
I actually liked Halo Infinite when it dropped, but I haven't played it since, so I don't know.
this goes back to the philosophy shift mentioned earlier. Games aren't being made to be enjoyed, but to make money. It's this hard shift in priorities that has just gutted the soul of gaming and replaced it with flowcharts, focus groups, and revenue projections. Take, for example, the explosive growth in microtransactions over the past decade or so. Modern
I fucking hate what they did to the Battlefront series. If you played the Battlefront games, like the OG ones, like the PS1 and PS2, they're still better than the new ones. Still. Like, on the PC version of Battlefront 2, the old one, you could do, like, 50v50 teams on the Hoth, which is insane. It was so fucking cool. And you still can't do that type of shit. And even if you can, the gameplay is just fucking boring. I'm sorry. I know people love the new ones, but they're fucking dull, in my opinion.
issues such as slow progression, unbalanced gameplay, or a lack of content. This isn't a mistake. These issues are introduced on purpose, with the only way to overcome them being microtransactions. It doesn't matter if fair systems are dropped for a less engaging gameplay loop. It doesn't matter if microtransactions prioritize the size of your bank account rather than in-game skill. It doesn't matter if microtransactions have led to some of the most addictive, predatory systems imaginable. Microtransactions make an incomprehensible amount of money. That's the only reason
That's crazy. Because it showed in 2013, the entire game industry earned 80-something million. Microtransactions now make more than the entire gaming industry did in 2013. That is crazy. That doesn't include any game purchases. That's just microtransactions. That's wild.
to the games industry, it's more important that their septuagenarian shareholders see a 15% APY than actually give their customer base a semi-decent product. Outside of making games with these predatory, their customer
Bobby
base
Kotick literally looks like the devil. No wonder he did that shit.
semi-decent product. Outside of making games with these predatory,
It
money-first
zooms in on him
systems,
too.
modern games are often released in a broken and buggy state. The recent poster child of incomplete garbage is none other than Saints Row.
Oh,
Aside
really?
from having some genuinely cringe-inducing
I didn't
writing,
hear. I heard it was
gameplay at
terrible,
4 to
but I
2
didn't
hours
know
in,
anything about
the
the
game
game.
just does not function. Pull up literally any full-length review, and you'll see
Dude, it literally looks like they used stock fucking art. Like, this looks so boring.
a deluge of bugs, glitches, and broken features in this game. Saints Row isn't an outlier in this regard either. You had Battlefield 2042 last year, and
Yep.
Cyberpunk 2077 the year before that. Both incredibly hyped games
They're
that
actually
should
doing
not
pretty
have
good with
shipped
that
in
now,
the state
though,
they
from
were
what I've
in.
heard.
The people at the helm, and more specifically the publishers, just stopped caring.
Yep.
They knew a bunch of gullible saps and stupid teens would drop $60 on their latest shitfest, so why even bother?
Their words, not his.
Worst of all, if a game totally flops, many of these studios and publishers are so large they can just eat the losses, shelve their broken game, and move on to the next lazily made entry.
Yep, I guarantee the next Battlefield they're gonna have the same issue, and they're not gonna care. They've been doing it since I feel like Battlefield 1 was the last good one. I think that came out with bugs too.
Finally, this corporatized, business-centric approach to game development has just killed any passion and vision within the larger industry. Rather than prioritizing player experience,
Again, Assassin's Creed, a series that was so unique and like original, and they just milked it dry, and the shit is just derivative now. It's so fucking dull. Although I do want to play Valhalla, because that seems pretty cool.
game developers are more preoccupied with garbage sequels, unnecessary remakes, and shameless trend chasing. For me, the epitome
Real.
of this visionless, trend-chasing game development has been the new Halo trilogy. I use the term trilogy loosely here, as the stories in each game have little to do with each other and are all pretty mediocre in their own right. Outside of this lackluster writing, every new Halo aped mechanics from other popular games, presumably because money. 4 has score streaks and loadouts,
I liked Halo 4 a lot. I think that was the last good one.
5 has pay-to-win loot boxes, and Infinite has a live service season pass that's so barren and devoid of content, it's genuinely shocking. One of the most groundbreaking, influential, and just plain fun series ever created was utterly castrated by out-of-touch, money-first suits. Most tragically of all, this fate has fallen countless other IPs and series, all reduced to shells of their former selves.
Metal Gear, bro, it was so good. I actually know if the last one was bad or not, but I know they were on a streak.
The AAA games industry has fundamentally regressed, its priorities totally misaligned with the point of gaming, and unfortunately, it's a situation that I don't see changing anytime soon. It's blatantly obvious that money is the biggest, if not single motivating factor in making games nowadays, and if that's the industry's goal, then they're certainly succeeding. There's no longer a major incentive to make interesting or good games when you can just copy-paste total schlock every year and still make billions.
Every sports game. I mean, it's so weird because every sports game is literally cookie-cutter copy-paste. Although WWE 2022 and NBA 2023, I heard good things about. But aren't they just the same as the other ones?
You can vote with your wallet to change things, sure. But the next whale they catch completely cancels out whatever difference you might have made. Furthermore, the AAA games industry has largely consolidated under a select few major corporations and studios. This, coupled with the increasing barriers to entry due to technological advancement, means there's little reason for innovation and few grounds for competition. The whole of AAA gaming has just become stale and sad, and out-of-touch ghouls like Phil Spencer and Andrew Wilson are perfectly fine with that.
Damn, he sounds pissed.
I mentioned at the beginning that I discussed what should be done regarding the modern gaming industry's dismal state, and I feel the best option for gamers is nothing. The modern games industry at this point is a joke. I think by now this should be fairly obvious.
True.
Huge conglomerates just push out unoriginal, unenjoyable, and/or incomplete titles year after year, yet are able to bank off of microtransactions and a lazy consumer base. Unless CEOs actually start caring about art, outside of money laundering.
Too real. I should actually react to that video. It's pretty interesting. The entire world of fine art, a lot of it is just to money launder for fucking rich billionaires.
Or if predatory microtransactions get regulated into oblivion, I highly doubt there will be any major changes in the industry. So why bother with it at that point? It's better to avoid this constant deluge of disappointment than hope COD 37 will be marginally better than its
Damn, how old is this video? 3 months. It was already out. What do you mean beta footage? Was it not out? No. Oh wait, maybe not. No, yeah. Damn. That feels like that game dropped ages ago.
Avoid this constant deluge of disappointment, then hope COD 37 will be marginally better than its predecessors. Instead, rather than deal with the cultural void that is the modern games industry, just go back to that golden age. A friend of mine remarked that it's sad some of the best games ever have already been made. And while this is pretty accurate, it's also true.
I feel like at some point we're gonna get good shit again. I feel like someone, I don't know who, maybe someone leaves a big company and they have the budget. They make genuine good games and it blows up. I mean, we still have the Elden Ring developers. They're still doing pretty unique shit. They really haven't missed once.
There are countless excellent titles from back in the day that many of us haven't gotten around to or didn't hear of when they were released. They're games
true.
often made with passion, and because you couldn't just
People
patch in
overlook
fixes
games
back in the day,
sometimes just
they're
because they're
actually
old,
complete.
but they're still fucking
Furthermore, strong communities for retro
great.
titles are
Speaking
still
of
going
which,
strong to this day,
one of the
be
greatest
it for
games
speedrunning
ever
or just for
made.
enthusiasts of a particular series. Alternatively, while AAA publishers and studios have seemingly abandoned passion for green slips of paper.
Wait, the goal that I had in bringing a lot of the packaged good folks into Activision about 10 years ago was to take all of the fun out of making games. I don't even know if that's a lie, bro. He is literally Satan. Look at him. That is an evil man. I wouldn't even be surprised. He was probably sent here to ruin the gaming industry.
You're much more likely to find well-crafted, lovingly made games from indie studios. From early classics such as Super Meat Boy and Binding of Isaac.
Dude, Binding of Isaac, I've spent so many hours playing that. It's so good. I don't know what Hades.
Recent titles like Hades or Ultra Kill.
Hades looks
Indie games have
Damn,
consistently
these
turned
look
out
good.
innovative
I gotta
and
play
engaging
these.
games actually worth your time. While there are weird and bad entries in the indie scene, at the very least it's a space that cares about the art of gaming along with their community.
This looks cool too.
Finally, if you absolutely have to play the latest Gears of Halo Theft Auto 5 or Gorbino's Quest, get it at a discount. Or, at a discount.
What? I don't get it. At a discount. I assume he means stealing, like pirating or armed robbery. But, I mean, this bitch got arms. I don't see any robbery, though.
All in all, even if the modern games industry is in its dark age, it doesn't mean gaming has to be. There are more than enough excellent games, new and old, to play and enjoy. games that are free of the hollow influence of this once great industry. Thank you so much for watching this video.
No problem, bro. Make sure check out his fucking channel because that shit was fire. Yeah, that shit was good. And he does not have a lot of views on his videos, so definitely go check him out. I definitely want to do some more reaction content because I really enjoyed that. I thought it was really fun actually. So you're definitely gonna be seeing more of that. But yeah, I'm in it there. See you. For the video, but like also see you for the stream. I'm really fucking tired, so I don't even know, but yeah, good night. Bye.